Welcome to the foothills of the Pocono Mountains. They ain't the Rockies, but they are home, and they're where you'll find Blue Mountain Resort, which is either the first, second, or third best ski hill in Pennsylvania, depending on who you ask. I'm going to take you on a full tour of every trail from west to east, top to bottom, and while I'm not a super confident snowboarder, I have been catching edges and eating snow at Blue for years, so I am a confident tour guide. Without further ado, this is the Summit Lodge, where I always park. You can park at the Valley Lodge too, where the spots are a little closer and you can just walk to your car after your last run, which is nice, but the Valley Lot's muddier, and I like to start my day at the top. Those kiosks are where day passers can pick up their RFID card. To the left, you'll find rentable lockers and also the commodes. And to the right is the Summit Rental Shop, which isn't open as often as the one in the Valley Lodge, so check your confirmation email. I have my own gear and a season pass, and I already went potty, so I'm going to go walk straight out into the Summit courtyard here and get to work. Over there, that's the Slope Side Pub and Grill. As of this video, you can still get a bangin' elk burger there, and the prices aren't actually significantly higher than the overpriced a la carte fish food you get in the Valley cafeteria. You only live once. Spend the extra $4. You can walk straight onto the Vista trail here, which is where they hold their pond skim in the spring, but we're not starting the tour here. I'm going to ride down and start from the proper spot, up at the top. These are the two Valley Bunny Hills, Valley School, east and west. If you have a lesson in the Valley, this is where it'll be. There's a magic carpet lift that goes halfway up and a slow, safe Valley School chairlift. It's a great place to learn to practice the black art of unloading a ski lift while on a snowboard. The first trail here is Easy Out. You can get here from the fancy new Main Street Express 6-pack lift, or from the Vista chair, which starts a third of the way down the mountain and is both older and slower than dirt. This is a nice, short, easy green trail that's basically just the top part of Vista. Blue Mountain is famous for arbitrarily splitting trails into two to increase their trail count. There's very little to say about Easy Out. Long right-hand turn onto Vista. This is the mellowest, widest green trail, and if you park at the Summit Lodge, it's where you're going to drop in. It's a zoo on busy days. Lots of Jerrys and little kids, newbies and experts, all here. People like to play ski slope Frogger hopping up to the lodge. It's called Vista because the view is pretty good, but I'll show you better views elsewhere. At the bottom, you can go right to hit up some Black Diamonds, or left for my favorite green trail on the mountain. Let's go left first. Slow down. This is a slow trail. Damn teenagers. I love this trail. It's always my warm-up run when I first get here. The founder of the place, Ray Tuthill, he was an engineer in World War II, and he served in China and Burma, and it's named after the real Burma Road, the windy mountain road that Allies used to supply China after Japan cut off their seaports. It's probably the best trail name here. I love the history behind it. Look it up. To the right there is Yeti, the baby terrain park on the mountain. We'll hit that one up next lap. Gotta slow down for the newbies. If they get hit, they'll have a bad time, and if they have a bad time, they won't come back, which means no more money from KSL. It's also common courtesy, in addition to technically being the ski code. If you're learning to snowboard, this is my trail recommendation. A lot of people will tell you Paradise is better for beginners, but I'm a hard disagree, and I'm prepared to die on that hill. Not literally. Paradise is just too straight. When I was first learning, I used Paradise, and I spent the whole time just trying to slow down, burning myself out in the process. Burma's also usually less icy and not nearly as long, so your legs aren't burning at the bottom, and so you don't tire out so soon. The only downsides to Burma Road, it can get crowded, and therefore skied out in the turns, which can make them icy or sugary or lumpy. Just take it easy your first time down. The other downside, on the final straight, you gotta flat base it, bomb it as fast as you can, without losing control, of course. Last thing you want to do is clobber a youngling or an oldling. But if you go too slow, you're not going to make it up Shuttle, which is the only way down to the lifts. If you don't fully commit, or if the snow is slow, you'll have to unstrap here and skate. It's the worst trail here, and it desperately needs to be regraded. On busy day, it clogs with unsuccessful snowboarders sitting down to strap back in, which is a shame because it's also a 3-point intersection and a huge choke point on the western side of the mountain. Come on! It's one of only 2 truly terrible trails here. I'll show you the other one later, but for now, I think I'm going to make it. So we'll mosey on down to Shuttle and hang a left on the first of several parallel run-out trails that you take all the way to the bottom lifts. This is Barb's Way, named for Ray Tuttle's daughter, Barb, who became president and CEO later. It was my favorite terrain park, before they got rid of it. Once the season gets busy, they strip out all the features to make it more accommodating for the crowds. Now it's just a straight and mellow cruise to the valley lifts. Down there in the Valley Lodge, they have a cafe which serves the kind of food you'd find at a zoo or aquarium cafeteria. And there's also a bar, which is always properly crowded. Also bathrooms, water fountains, stuff like that. Back to the Main Street lift. Life in the fast lane. Here's Yeti. I always take the scenic route through Yeti when I'm on Burma Road. Just some nice easy boxes. And a decent sized jump at the end. You can easily sidestep it if you want to. He's bent. And you're safely back onto Burma Road. Back at the top, just to the right of the Main Street chair, we find Curzi's cabin, formerly known as Widowmaker, formerly known as Raceway. It's short, it's black, and the name keeps changing. I miss Prince. This is the easiest black diamond, and a great place to start learning steeper terrain. According to public records, there was a cabin on some acreage down near the valley owned by a John Curzi. Blue Mountain recently bought his land for undisclosed reasons. John passed away in 2022, and I don't know the details, but soon after the mountain bought his land, Widowmaker was renamed Curzi's Cabin as, I guess, some sort of tribute. Some more Blue Mountain trivia for you. If you want to brag to your friends that you technically did a black diamond, Curzi's Cabin is the trail for you. If you go right off the Main Street chair, you hit Curzi's Cabin, but if you go left, there's a whole bunch of options, the first of which you'll see is Come Around Park. As you can see, it's another terrain park, a bit tougher than Yeti. A lot of rails, which I don't do. I've seen too many kids break ribs and faces on them. You gotta look both ways as you cross Connector, the other terrible trail here. It bisects the top of a few great trails, but the last thing I want to do is hurt someone, so we slow down and check. Some more features here. There's usually 1 or 2 medium jumps here, depending on how much snow they have to play with. Alley-oop. Not ideal having a landing zone so close to an intersection like this, so be prepared to hit the brakes after you, hopefully, stick your landing. If we keep going, we can choose between either a short green that dumps you safely onto Burma Road or one of the 2 short black diamond sister trails, the Chute and Midway. This is Midway, the longer and less steep of the 2. It's still steep though, and if you bite it here, everyone on the lift up there is going to see you. Dumps you right onto Main Street, so make sure you look uphill first. On the right, you'll find the Chute, which is the shorter and steeper of the 2 Black Diamond sister trails. And I do mean steep. You You can bomb it if you want to, but keep in mind it dumps you onto Main Street, so you better look uphill before you start doing that. Whee! If you come down this way by accident and the thought of black diamonds gives you anxiety, fear not. There's an easy out. Ironically, not actually called Easy Out. Just keep left for Little Gap, named after Blue Mountain's original name, Little Gap Ski Area, as well as a geological feature. This is a super mellow green shortcut that dumps you out at the bottom of Yeti and safely back onto Burma Road. Making a left off the Main Street lift, just past Come Around Park here, you'll find the top of Main Street. I refuse to call them Upper and Lower Main Street. It's one trail, but Blue decided to pretend it's two, and while it's their right to do that, it's my right not to take part in that delusion. Speaking of delusions, Barney's bumps are over on the left, and every once in a while I convince myself that it might be fun to try a mogul field like this on a snowboard. It's not. Looks like a blast on skis, though. Oh, he's booking it. So Main Street is the longest single black. It's super straight, and with the exception of Barney bumps, it looks kind of simple, so it attracts people who might not belong on such a fast run. Case in point, this guy is skiing with the parking brake on. Let's see if I can get around him safely. Fun fact, the left side was lined with small trees last year, and a lot of people broke bones taking side hits there, including me and my ankle. It's a long road to recovery getting back on a snowboard, and while the trees appear to be gone, I won't be doing side hits on Main Street ever again. Properly fast trail. It ends at Shuttle, which sucks, but at least you can make it over. Left, past Come Around Park, past Main Street, blink and you'll miss it, is Switchback. Gotta watch for connector. Everybody loves Switchback, myself included. It's a blue, but it parallels Main Street down, so it's fast. A real burner. Easily the most challenging blue trail here. Great fast turns. If this is your favorite trail like it is for many people, you're cool with me. Personally, it's my second favorite, but it's always a happy day when Switchback opens for the season. It's usually one of the last to open and the first to close. It doesn't get a whole lot of snowmaking love, and it gets rocky at the bottom late in the season. It dumps you onto the bottom of Main Street, and then of course onto Shuttle. Going the wrong way, man! I'll figure it out. Past Come Around Park, past Main Street and Switchback, is Lazy Mile. The entrance is at the lowest point of the ridge that runs along the top, so it's a natural funnel for people just going with the flow. It's not terribly lazy, and it's not technically a mile, but what it is a wonderful blue trail, and what I consider one of Blue Mountain's signature trails. Oh god, it's terrible! Snowboarding over gravel parking lot. AC. Every other trail today has been amazing. What gives? Conditions change daily here. This was awesome last week. If you take one thing away from this tour, it's that everything at Blue changes fast. So, if conditions suck, just try again later. And if conditions are perfect, don't expect the same tomorrow. Okay, so it's ice gravel on the left and an ice hockey rink on the right. Pick your poison. You can go straight here to Sidewinder and Falls, but we're going to go left to finish out Lazy Mile. Just like that, the awesome snow is back. On your right, the sharpest right-hand turn on the mountain is next, which dumps you onto Shuttle, which sucks, but if your edges are sharp, you can cut the corner pretty hard and avoid most of the congestion. Or if they're not sharp, you can plow into the crowd like a Mustang at a car show. Mine aren't super sharp, so I'm taking it easy. Moving on to the next lift, the Challenge Express, another high-speed six-pack. This one's nice because it runs up the middle, so with the exception of one trail, which happens to be my favorite trail, you can access every good run from this lift if you're smart. Making a right off the Challenge Express lift, you can get to Lazy Mile, or if you cut in right before Lazy Mile, you can try the Blue Baumer Glades. It's not super snowboard friendly, but it doesn't open very often, so it's kind of forbidden fruit. You have to try it when you can. Lots of speed checks, and it's good to be able to ride switch through here. Got my helmet and the wrist guards engaged. Still, just gonna take it slow. It's just so cool back here. It goes for a while, but you can bail out whenever you want to. Too fast. I think that's my sign. Bailing out onto Lazy Mile here. Definitely gonna try again later. It's so pretty back there. Oop. Snickers wrapper. Other people's children. Making a sharp left off the Challenge Express lift and under the Challenge Express lift is another hidden gem. It doesn't open too often. Last year, this didn't open until February, and the year before that, it never opened. This is my second favorite view on the mountain. Just look at it. This is Sidewinder, the biggest blue trail here. It's super wide, and it only has those old school stick guns, so it takes a lot of effort to open this. Fortunately, this year's been cold as balls. The whole mountain's pretty much opened. Sometimes they put big whales in here to roll over, which is fun. The biggest challenge I have riding at Blue here is the crowds. But this trail is so wide, you can really get some elbow room. It's my favorite thing about it. The bottom bit does get a little steep, and it ends at an intersection, as do many of the best trails here, so watch your speed. To the left is Lazy Mile, to the right is Falls, and dead ahead is Lower Sidewinder. This is a fun little slalom through the trees. Technically it's a black terrain park, I think, but don't be scared, it's super slow. They hold border cross races here occasionally. It's a great place to learn to trust your edge. Super unique little trail, and one of my favorites. If you go straight, you'll hit Central Park. You guessed it, it's a terrain park. Some kooky looking features here. I'm not creative enough to even know what to do with some of them. So I'm just gonna ride through until it dumps me out onto Barb's Way and onto the valley lifts. Say you don't go left on Sidewinder and you go straight. You're in for a challenge. You're in for challenge. The fastest, most difficult double black here. Suck it, Razor's Edge. Second place. I like to wait till it's clear. Another very well-named trail. It's about the same steepness as Razor's Edge, but it's narrower. Has way more trees, which means it's darker as well, and I don't think they groom it as much. Idiots like to straight line this and do speed runs with their GPS, which is not very wise or mature. Let's do a speed run. And I'm all out of bravery. That was dumb. It sure is a rush, though. Just be careful. At the end of challenge is Falls, another very well-named trail that's not really its own trail. So real steep, real short, real fun. I love that one. Just pick an edge and hold on tight. Just to the right of challenge, running parallel, is the other big double black, Razor's Edge. Same deal, gonna wait till it's clear. And we're good. It starts off like challenge, real steep first, before mellowing out later. It's much wider, with much better visibility, so it's a better trail overall, and one of my favorites. Just be careful, because people have been killed on this trail, not to be a downer. It's usually closed for races, so it's a real treat that it's open today. To the right is Razorback. I'll show you that in a second. It's just a little siding trail. The best thing about Razor's Edge is it's one of the few good trails here that doesn't end at a busy intersection. That's why they race here. One last steep bit. Whee! And we're done. Love that one. Here's Razorback. It's a nice little place to scrub off any unwanted speed. I think it's where the officials hang out during race training. I went in there once. Just boring stuff for racing. Storage. And we're back on the Razor's Edge. To the right of Razor's Edge is another double black, Nightmare. Normally, it's like a blue. It's no harder than Switchback. But when conditions are right, it's where they build the Mac Daddy Terrain Park. And brother, conditions are right. It's not a great terrain park if you've got mouths to feed. Know your skill level. For example, no. I don't even know what that thing does. Maybe this teenager will show us. Neat. Once you round the corner, it becomes Dreamweaver. Cute name, but again, it's really just one long trail. Lots of gnarly rails and big jumps here. Seriously, who comes up with this stuff? I'm not going over these jumps, but I'll roll over them. Ouch! I was not expecting air on that roller. That was something. If you like eating shit, but you don't want to splurge in the Valley cafeteria, this is the trail for you. Definitely an expert terrain park. Bottom dumps you out where Paradise meets Homestretch, both greens, so slow down. All the way to the right is Paradise, the trail a lot of people who aren't me say is the best for beginners. Just make sure you follow the signs, because if you go any other direction, you're on a double black. This is a great trail. It can get icy with all the sun exposure, and it's the longest one here, so it's a leg burner if you're not in shape. The best thing about it is this cliffside. When there's enough snow, you can ride up through the bushes and get a great view. You can get pretty high out there if you enter with more speed than I did. As you can see, you go pretty straight for a while, so if you're a beginner, practice your speed control. I started 4 years ago, and the memories are still vivid. There's a secret ramp up to some cool, challenging glades there, but it's pretty rocky, and I like my base intact. This is right about where the uninitiated start getting tired, so they like to pool up here at the corner to rest, like a parking lot. Which is a problem, because a steep black diamond dumps out there. This is the last straight. It gets real choppy when it's warm and real thin towards the end of the season. It might be the most trafficked stretch of snow at Blue Mountain. I'm getting lucky today. Like every other trail here, it's in awesome condition. Except Lazy Mile. And now we meet up with Dreamweaver at Homestretch. Are your legs burning yet? If so, time for some off-season lunges and leg lifts. To get to the lifts, go left, or you can go right for the final terrain park. The sign says Homestretch, but the map says Pioneer Park and also Frontier Alley, so I have no idea. Usually some renegade hero loses patience and rips down these entrance nets so you can just cruise in. I'm no hero. This is the second easiest park after Yeti. They had a cool rainbow box here last season, but I broke my ankle on Main Street before I got the courage to try it. Nice little boxies. It's back! Bear with me 1 sec. Where you at, dog? Taste the rainbow. Again! Rail Jam 2026, here I come. Just to the right there is the largest snow tubing park in America, which I've yet to try. The sign at the top said it's a hike-only park and that there's no exit. This sure looks like an exit. Now we're on my favorite lift, the Comet Quad. It's a little older, and it's only a 4-pack, so it's not the lift itself I love, but it's the only one that services my favorite trail. Known for years as Coming Soon, it's Blue Mountain's newest and most versatile trail. May not be your favorite, but if you're a Blue regular, it's going to be in your top 3. It's the only trail to the left of the Comet Quad, and usually requires a little skating to get up here, but it's worth it, hear me out. I don't know why, but there's usually some pretty fun easy side hits here. Ooh, Poppy. It's also a really cool place to ride up into the trees. Awesome place to take a break and eat a Cliff Bar or drink responsibly. This is my favorite view on the mountain. Just towards the valley, but at night with the lights on, the woods are real spooky and cool looking too. On that note, it's the only trail thus far with 100% LED lighting. Night riding Freefall is an experience. And because it's so wide and mellow and usually not crowded, it's a great place to practice butters. Emphasis on the word practice. So if it's so pleasant and mild, why is it a black diamond with expert-only signs at the top? This is why. It just drops. Sometimes it's icy, sometimes it's molded up, but it's always a challenge. The only flaw with this trail, it ends at Paradise. Right where people insist on hanging out. Brakes! Second to the last trail, Tut's Lane. Named after Ray Tuthill, the founder, it's basically a catwalk across the upper ridge and a major artery for all of the good trails. It's super slow and mellow, yet they call it a blue. Not sure why. It's not like it only services blues and blacks, you can get to greens from it too. It's often crowded with people catapulting off the lifts, so maybe it's the human factor that makes it a blue instead of a green.
I was fist bumping you, but yeah, I might use the help. Oh shit, I'm sorry,
No,
bro.
you're good, you're good.
Damn, I gotta go this way. On the GoPro too,
Give
this
it
is
a little
embarrassing.
push there.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you be safe.
Oh my god, no.
It's so mellow, in fact, that if you stop to help somebody, you'll have to skate for a while to get going again. I'm gonna try driving on the shoulder. Breaking the law, breaking the law. Fun fact, if you go through those woods to the left, you'll find the Appalachian Trail running parallel to Tut's Lane. The bottom of Tut's Lane sets you up to ride the second truly terrible trail here, Connector. It's slow, it's narrow, it's poorly graded, and worst of all, it cuts across all kinds of great trails like Switchback, Main Street, and the most sketchy blind crossing of all, Come Around Park. And last but not least, it cuts across Curzi's cabin. Early in the season, before all those trails are open, you can kind of bomb down Connector and usually make it to the end. But if you have to stop and check like you're supposed to, you're never going to make it past this part. And that's it for the tour. Despite years of practice, I am still unable to snowboard uphill, so to get back to my car, I'm gonna have to play a rousing game of ski slope Frogger. Look, that guy snagged some abandoned ski poles. I've tried that. It's marginally effective. Carrying ski poles around on a snowboard is more annoying than just skating, in my opinion. They do make awesome trekking poles for summer, and the ground under the lifts is littered with them by the end of the season. Just saying. Thanks for watching.